My family never liked camping. They said it was dirty, uncomfortable, and frankly, a bit pointless. When we had a perfectly good house. But I was different. I craved the thrill of the unknown, the whisper of the wind through ancient trees, the feeling of being a tiny speck in a vast, untamed wilderness. That's why, against everyone's advice, I set off for a solo camping trip in the sprawling national forest a few hours from my city. The first day was absolute bliss. I found a secluded spot by a clear, babbling creek, pitched my tent, and spent the afternoon just breathing in the scent of pine and damp earth. As dusk painted the sky in shades of orange and purple, I built a small, crackling campfire. The woods came alive with the gentle symphony of crickets and the occasional hoot of an owl. It was peaceful, perfect. I roasted some marshmallows, stared into the hypnotic dance of the flames, and felt a profound sense of calm wash over me. This was what I had been searching for. The city with its noise and its rush felt a million miles away. As the last embers of my fire began to fade, I crawled into my sleeping bag, feeling utterly content. The gentle sounds of the forest were a natural lullaby, and I drifted off to sleep almost instantly. I'm not sure what time it was when I woke up. It was that deep, pitch-black part of the night, where the moon is hidden and the stars feel impossibly distant. What woke me was a sound, a single, sharp snap, like a heavy branch breaking underfoot. My heart jolted in my chest. I laid there, frozen, straining my ears against the fabric of my tent. It was probably just a deer. Primetta told myself. A raccoon. Nothing to worry about. I tried to calm my racing pulse, to rationalize the noise. Animals are active at night. This is their home, not mine. But then I heard it again. Snap. Closer this time, and it was followed by a slow, deliberate dragging sound. Scrape, scrape. ... Scrape. It wasn't the light-footed movement of a deer. This was heavy, purposeful. My breath hitched in my throat. I slowly, silently, reached for the heavy-duty flashlight I kept by my head. My hand was shaking so badly I could barely grip it. The dragging sound stopped. Silence. An absolute, suffocating silence that was somehow more terrifying than the noise itself. Every nerve in my body was screaming. I was no longer a happy camper. I was prey, trapped in a thin nylon shell. Minutes stretched into what felt like hours. I didn't dare move. Didn't dare breathe too loudly. My imagination was running wild, conjuring images of bears, mountain lions, or worse, something not found in any park guide. Then, a new sound began, and this one chilled me to the bone. It was a low, guttural humming, a rhythmic, tuneless melody. It seemed to vibrate through the very ground beneath me. It was deep, resonant, and unmistakably human. Or, at least, it sounded like it was trying to be human. The humming grew louder, closer. It was circling my tent. I could hear the soft crunch of leaves with each slow, methodical step. I squeezed my eyes shut, praying for it to go away, for the sun to rise, for this nightmare to end. The humming stopped directly outside my tent, right where my head was. I could feel a presence there, a weight in the air, just beyond the thin fabric wall. My heart was a drum against my ribs. I held my breath, waiting. A shadow fell over the tent wall, a large, distorted silhouette against the faint starlight. It was impossibly tall, unnaturally thin. It just stood there, watching, waiting. The humming started again, but this time it was different. It was interspersed with a soft, wet, clicking sound. And then I heard my name, whispered. A dry, raspy voice that sounded like dead leaves skittering across pavement. It whispered my name, clear as day. Panic, cold and absolute, seized me. How could anything out here know my name? I hadn't seen another soul since I left the ranger station. I hadn't spoken to anyone. The voice whispered my name again, this time followed by a soft, mocking chuckle. It knew I was awake. It knew I was terrified. Then, a single, long finger roar. What looked like a finger pressed against the side of the tent, slowly dragging downwards, leaving a trail of condensation on the inside. The fabric stretched, groaned under the pressure. I scrambled backwards, pressing myself against the far side of the tent, my mind screaming. I fumbled with the zipper of my tent door, my fingers numb and clumsy. I had to get out. I had to run. I didn't care where. I just had to get away from that voice, from that shadow. The zipper snagged. Of course it did. I pulled frantically, a choked sob escaping my lips. The humming outside turned into a low growl of amusement. I finally ripped the zipper open and tumbled out into the cold night air. I didn't look back. Just ran. I sprinted blindly through the undergrowth, branches whipping at my face, thorns tearing at my clothes. Behind me, I could hear it. The heavy, dragging footsteps were no longer slow. They were keeping pace with me, crashing through the forest with an unnatural speed. I ran harder than I've ever run in my life, fueled by pure adrenaline and terror. The woods were a confusing maze in the darkness. I stumbled over roots, slipped on damp leaves, my lungs burning, my legs screaming in protest. The sound of pursuit was always there, just behind me, a constant, terrifying reminder that I was being hunted. I didn't know how long I ran for. It could have been 10 minutes or an hour. Finally, I broke through the tree line and onto a paved road. In the distance, I saw the blessed, beautiful glow of headlights. A car was approaching. I waved my arms frantically, screaming for help, tears streaming down my face. I must have looked like a madman. The car screeched to a halt, and a bewildered-looking couple stared at me from inside. I didn't stop to explain. I just yanked open the back door and threw myself inside, babbling incoherently about someone in the woods. They were scared, but they saw the genuine terror in my eyes and sped away without question. As we drove off, I risked a glance back at the edge of the forest. For a split second, framed by the red taillights, I saw it. A tall, gaunt figure standing just at the tree line. It was too far to see any details, but I saw it raise a long, thin arm, as if in a wave, and then it was gone, swallowed by the darkness. The couple dropped me off at the ranger station. I tried to explain what happened, but the words came out jumbled, insane. They looked at me with a mixture of pity and suspicion. They sent a ranger to my campsite the next morning. They found everything. My tent, my backpack, my sleeping bag. All of it was there, untouched. Except for one thing. My tent had been shredded, not torn by a bear or a cougar. It was cut, meticulously, into hundreds of thin, precise ribbons, as if by 1,000 tiny razors. On day ground, next to the remains of my tent, was a single word, scraped into the dirt with what looked like a sharpened stick. My last name. I never went camping again. I moved out of that city. Sometimes, late at night, when the house is quiet, I think I can hear it. A low, guttural humming, just on the edge of my hearing. A faint whisper on the wind. I don't know what was in those woods. I don't want to know. But I know it remembers me, and I know that it's still waiting. Thank you for listening to my story. If you enjoy content like this, please consider liking this video and subscribing to the channel for more. Stay safe out there.